Do you want to level up your life? Do you want to increase your income? Do you want to have more time to do the things that are important to you? More time taking vacations, more time building memories with family, with your kids, with your grandkids. In tonight's success tip, I'm going to share with you one key strategy that is literally like a physical key that you can use to unlock your future. But if you don't use this key, for some of you, you're going to be stuck in a jail cell, in a prison created by your own mind and your own past. We're going to shift everything for you this evening. By the way, my name is Jackie O'Quinn. I'm a trainer here with Destiny Global. We show up here every other Tuesday night with an absolutely free success tip that's designed to give you something applicable that you can use in your life, a mindset hack, a skill tip, something that you can use to start getting results immediately. It's totally for free. Make certain that you follow us here on this page. All right, in tonight's success tip, this is something that I started using sort of late in my entrepreneurial career. And it really started aligning some things for me perfectly. You see, I first became an entrepreneur in my 20s. I attended a live training event called First Steps to Success, and I applied some principles in that training event and actually ended up generating a six-figure income and eventually a seven-figure income and led a company and organization. We did over $100 million in total sales. It was incredible. And I could trace it all back to those first skill sets, that first foundation in that first training event. But along the way, I continued to refine what I was learning. And what I'm going to share with you tonight is something that has radically transformed my life. This one specific tip. So here it is. So oftentimes we have to first recognize that we are designed, in my personal opinion, I believe that you're designed to have a greater level of success than what you're having right now. I believe that you're designed to make more money. And I don't mean a little bit more money, I mean a lot more money. I believe that you're designed to be able to be out of debt. I believe that you should not have financial stress burdens in your life in the same way that you do now. Listen, you're not ever going to solve all problems. And some people say with more money becomes more problems. But the truth is that with more money becomes different type of problems. And far more of those problems are positive and not negative. Not having enough money to pay your light bill, not having enough money to pay the credit card, not having enough money to feel like you can comfortably retire, those are real life-altering problems. And I want to help you have the other kind of problems where you got to figure out what to do with your money. You got to figure out how to get your money going to work for you and all of those wonderful problems. So it's important for you to understand that I believe you're designed for success. And I want to prove this to you. Mel Robbins, I first heard her say this, and I love it so much. I think I looked the statistic up to make certain it is true, and it in fact is. Did you know that your odds of being born are 1 in 400 trillion? That's 412 zeros. That's $400,000 billion. That's crazy if you think about it. Like, that's an insane number. You literally have already won the greatest lottery of all time. And that was the lottery of birth. To be born at the time that you were born to the parents that you were born to is 1 in 400 trillion. That tells me that you're not an accident. That tells me that there's some reason you're put on this planet. You have something that you're supposed to accomplish. And that desire that's planted inside of you, that innate desire of ambition, that seed of desire that says, I want to achieve more. It's a very real desire that all humans have. Now, what we want to do with our success and exactly how we want to live our life and what we want to do with increase in finances and how we want to spend our time looks different for everybody. But everybody is on some sort of quest for a better life. And I believe that you're designed by God to live out that better life. The proof is you were born, you were put here, and you were put here with a desire for success. Listen, you're still watching, and I haven't given you a tip yet, but I'm going to get you there. But the reason you're still watching proves that you have ambition to want to know more, to want to be more. You have to recognize, you have to first believe that you're supposed to have success. You have to first believe that you're designed. That's one of the first things that I learned in my very first Step Success event. There's a whole training session that was talk about our design. And when I realized, wait a minute, God literally designed me on purpose to be able to have success, that was a game changer. Once you recognize that, then it comes down to why haven't I succeeded yet? What's the single biggest thing that has held me back? If I'm of average intelligence and I live in a country that I still have free will to make decisions on how I make money and what kind of businesses I can make, or what kind of jobs I can get, or what kind of businesses I can grow, what kind of jobs I can get, if I still have that freedom, then what is currently holding me back? I'm going to tell you that I think it's the beliefs that you have about yourself. And the question is, where do those beliefs come from? Listen, we have certain beliefs about ourselves. We believe that we can and cannot do certain things. And oftentimes when we decide that we want to, go for that new job, that better paying job, or try to get that new promotion or start that business, we have ambition and excitement, enthusiasm, and we want to go at it. But then something happens along the way. Almost always there's some sort of struggle that we hit. There's some sort of failure. And for most people, they stop at the struggle. They don't push through. They don't learn. They don't overcome. They stop at the struggle. And the reason they stop is they say, no, I knew I couldn't do it. I knew maybe I wasn't supposed to do it. Or this is a terrible one. Maybe this wasn't God's will. The truth is, maybe it was God's will for you to grow and learn so that you could achieve that position, achieve that next level of success. But that's a whole nother tip for another time. All too often what happens is our beliefs about ourselves stop us. Where do those beliefs come from? Well, most often, your strongest beliefs about yourself can be tracked back to something in your past. Many times it's a past mistake or a past failure. You try to start a business and it's like you fail and you're like, I knew business isn't for me. I'm not cut out for business. I failed the last time I started a business. Or the last time I started a business, I had to let go of some employees and some people got hurt because that business wasn't successful. And maybe you're fearful of doing that again. You're fearful of repeating the past, or you think that the past, your past experience is the truth about what you're capable of. And I just want you to know, whatever that past mistake was, maybe you tried to apply for a new job, and when you tried to apply for that job, you didn't get it. And you failed, and you thought, you know what, maybe I'm not supposed to be in management. Maybe I'm just a good, team player or an area supervisor, but I'm not supposed to be a high-level manager. Maybe that's not who I am. And you start believing those things about you. Listen, I'm going to tell you, your past does not define your future. Your past has absolutely nothing to do with who you are called to become. I want you to understand that. And that's the first truth that you have to recognize. Well, the second truth, the first truth is that you were born on purpose for a purpose. The second truth you have to recognize is nothing about your past is truthful when it comes to who you're going to become. Meaning nothing negative about your past. You failed. Maybe you made a lot of money and you lost a lot of money. Maybe you made some bad business decisions. Maybe you made a bad decision on another job. Maybe you weren't a good worker. You started out in your 20s and, you just weren't a really good worker. Just because you weren't a good worker in your 20s doesn't mean you can't become an excellent worker and manager in the future. In fact, I would argue just because you made mistakes in your 20s would make you a better manager or supervisor in your 40s, 50s, 60s even. So just because your past is your past. Your past is information. Your past is for you to learn to do better, not define you on getting stuck. So I want you to understand that you have to forgive yourself from your past. And you have to stop allowing your past to hold you back. So here's the tip. All too often, this is a success tip. All too often what happens is we allow ourselves to dream, but we stop ourselves from following through on the dream that we have. And it's always through some sort of self-sabotage, by the way. Invariably, it's some sort of self-sabotage. And if it's not self-sabotage, let's just say there's circumstances that stop us, right? Let's just say, for whatever reason, there's some sort of personality conflict or whatever. There's something that stops us. Then we somehow want to use that as evidence that we're not supposed to move forward. No. If something beyond your control stopped you or created a stumbling block for you on your path to success, it just means you need to find another path to success. The proof in what I'm saying is true is that you were born here with a desire on purpose. 1 in 400 trillion odds that you were born here. Now, by the way, the odds are even greater than that you make it to the current age that you're at. That 1 in 400 trillion is just birth. So you've surpassed even those odds. And what are the odds that you would have ended up here tonight at this time watching this video right now? I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, there's a purpose in you being here. And I believe that purpose has nothing to do with me and everything to do with who you're going to become, what you're going to accomplish, and the life that you're going to live. So once you understand that there's a purpose greater than you, there's something that you're supposed to accomplish, then now what you have to do is you have to first start believing it. So here's what I'm going to tell you. You have to believe that you're going to become someone who you are not yet today. In other words, you have to start not believing that you're going to just become that person. You have to start believing that you are that person. Catch what I'm saying? It's not one day I'm going to be successful. One day I'm going to be a millionaire. One day I'm going to be an entrepreneur. One day I'm going to be a manager at this company. One day I'm going to be a CEO. It's not just one day. It's I'm the CEO now. That's who I am now. But I'm becoming someone who's going to work in a CEO working in that position. You need to start believing your future is who you are. And obviously, for some of you, you're challenged by this because you're like, but I'm not a CEO yet, or I'm not an entrepreneur yet. I don't have my own business yet. I'm not a manager yet at that company. Jackie, how can you say I should start thinking about myself as if that's who I am? Because you have to think about who you're going to be long before you become that person. You have to start seeing yourself as that person. And it's not just seeing yourself as a person. It's, if I'm a future CEO of this company, then what would a future CEO be doing today? What steps would I be doing today? So I'm not saying just to somehow live in pure fantasy. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is start thinking about who you're going to become in the future. Start thinking about what does that person do right now? What does that person do, what do they do day to day? How do they live their life? What are the habits do they have? What are they looking to accomplish? That's exactly what you want to be thinking about right now in your life today. So the key to success is you need to start thinking a little bit delusional. And the reason I say delusional, I don't mean like crazy. The reason I say start thinking a little bit delusional about yourself is because you got to start seeing yourself as someone you're not currently yet, but someone who you're going to become. Now listen, this isn't that crazy. The truth is, for most of us, we live in the past anyway. I'm telling you, start living in the future. Most of us allow our mistakes and our failures and our shortcomings to define who we are. I'm telling you to allow your future to start defining who you're going to become. And if you're still struggling with a past identity, I'm going to give you something you can do with that in a moment, because there's more help for you. I've got something for you. But I want you to also, as you start thinking about who you are today, recognizing that's who you are in the future. I'm going to be a six-figure entrepreneur. I'm going to be a millionaire. What does a millionaire, first of all, how are you going to make your million? And then what does that person do today? I'm going to grow a social media following. I want a million followers on Instagram. Okay. Then start seeing yourself now as someone who has 1 million followers on Instagram. But here's the question. Someone who's got 1 million followers on Instagram, what are they thinking about today? What are they doing today? That's how you want to start thinking about yourself. But listen. Then what you need to do is you need to start looking for evidence every day. First, the key is start thinking a little bit delusional. Start thinking about who you're becoming. Start walking in that identity. But then here's what you need to do. By default, we oftentimes remind ourselves of our past and our past mistakes. I'm going to tell you on purpose, you need to start looking for evidence of who you're becoming. Every single day, start looking for that evidence, because that's the only way humans naturally default to the past. And it's a survival mechanism, by the way. It's hardwired in us. But it's not a success mechanism. Understand the difference. And the older you are, the better you are at reminding yourself of the past. So you have to be very intentional about looking for evidence of who you are today and who you're becoming in the future. So the success tip, start thinking slightly delusional about who you are today. And instead, start thinking about who you're becoming. And follow that up every single day by what is the evidence. So if you're going to be a CEO of that company, what would that CEO be doing today? What would that CEO be doing in their current position right now? The person who knows that they're one day going to be groomed for that position. Then obviously you know that you got to have a certain skill set. You've got to know certain things. You got to be doing certain things. You got to have a certain track record. And that track record, if you're going to be the CEO in the next 3 to 5 years, then what was that CEO, what was their track record like in a previous position 3 to 5 years earlier, for example? You start building that track record today. You're building your future life today. And as you're doing that successfully, focus strongly on the evidence every single day. Spend some time journaling or just in your quiet space thinking. What is the evidence that I am becoming that CEO? What evidence did I see today in myself? What evidence did I see today that I was becoming that millionaire? What evidence did I see today that I was becoming that successful entrepreneur? What evidence did I see today that I'm growing that business from 6 figures to 7? What evidence did I see today in my life? I'm growing that social media following to 1 million followers. What evidence did you see today that you were doing that? Maybe it was you put up fresh content, you planned content, whatever it was. And you want to be reminding yourself of that evidence on a daily basis. Now, listen, if you're still struggling, like you keep having those thoughts back to the past, and you're like, Jackie, I felt there's this weird thing in my head. I'm split focus. I'm looking for this evidence, and I'm still struggling with this past, and I catch myself going to default mode all too often. Then I'm going to tell you, you need to get to first step success. We have an entire section that's designed to help you start to reprogram your mind away from your past and towards the future. The very next first steps to success event, you're gonna have time, but it's important for you to understand that the hotel is selling out and ticket prices may go up. But the very next first step success event is gonna be August 11th, 12th, and 13th. That should be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 11th, 12th, and 13th in Atlanta, Georgia. Now listen, some of you may be in California, some of you may be overseas. If you weren't supposed to be at that event, I feel like you would have heard about it after the fact. It's not by accident that you were born. It's not by accident that you have the ambition to be able to live a successful life. And it's not by accident that you're watching me right now. What are the odds? Your next step is to get registered for First Step Success coming up in Atlanta, Georgia. I want to see you there. I'll be speaking at that event, and I want you to come up to me personally and say, I saw that success tip. And not only did that success mean something to me, but I'm here this weekend because I'm ready for my next step. I'm ready to level up, and I need more evidence in my life that I'm taking the right step to move forward. You're not defined by your past. Start thinking about yourself as based on the person you are. Start seeing yourself as who you're becoming, not who you think you've been. That's been an incredible mindset shift for me personally, and it's going to shift your mind and change your life. Look forward to seeing you on the next success tip every single Tuesday night. Click the link below. I'll get registered for First Step Success. Do it quickly before the event sells out. Get that hotel. The hotel room block is significantly discounted, and it's going to sell out. Airfare prices are going up. I know for a fact that we have people from overseas going to be at that event. And if people can come all the way from Eastern Europe, almost over by Russia, there may be some people coming all the way from Australia even. If people can get on an airplane and fly that far away because they're so serious about taking their life to the next level, what's stopping you from being in California or New York or Texas or Arkansas? I mean, people are going to be on an airplane crossing 3, 4, 5, 6 time zones. I look forward to seeing you there. You are meant to live a life of purpose. Now let's go live that life on purpose. Have a great night and God bless.